I've turned the computer away from me, so I can't really see what's going on. The screen and the light was reflecting off my glasses, so it looked like I had a screen or light for pupils. So this is a new thing that we're doing. I know that I've been on a pretty big hiatus, but it's a segment that I'm going to be doing called Books and Coffee. I can't tell if this is in the shot because, well, I can't see my computer screen, as I've just told you so. Basically, I'll be drinking coffee. You can drink coffee if you want. You don't have to. You can drink tea or some other caffeinated beverage. Here's a can of pop if you'd like. Anyway, we're going to be talking about books that I'm currently reading while drinking coffee. So let's discuss. Okay, so whenever I'm at Walmart, I have a penchant for going past the book lane, and it's getting a bit of a problem. You guys can see all the books in the back. But currently, have you ever went past the book aisle and saw a book that you read a long time ago and you just kind of forgotten about it? Well, oddly enough, Rose Madder by Stephen King. This is one that I had read a long, long time ago. I had to call up my friend who was at my house at the time to see if I even had it on the bookshelf, which I don't, oddly enough. I have most of his books anyway. So if you've never read Rose Madder, never heard of it, it's kind of an obscure Stephen King book. It's not as popular as It or The Stand or any of his Dark Tower series. Yeah, I'll read the back of it. After surviving 14 years of hell and a violent abusive marriage, Rosie Daniels, Rose, finally summons the courage to flee for her life, but leaving her husband Norman for oh, but leaving her husband Norman for a new city and a new start is a very daunting prospect. It's hard for Rosie not to keep looking over her shoulder, and with a good reason. Norman's a police officer with the instincts of a predator, a force of relentless terror and savagery, a man almost mythic in his monstrosity. He's very good at finding people. Is this like Liam Neeson? Maybe like Sleeping with the Enemy with Liam Neeson? Imagine Liam Neeson with those crazy eyes that one guy, I can't remember his name, was in Sleeping with the Enemy. Could you imagine a Julia Roberts, Liam Neeson kind of a book? I'm telling you, Stephen King, you sell your rights to movies all the time. Get on it. So he's very good at finding people, even if he is losing his mind. He can find people, but he loses his mind. Kind of weird. Rosie's only hope for salvation may lie in a far more dangerous place where she must become her own myth and the woman she never knew she could be. Interesting enough, it's International, oh man, comments are going to kill me. It's International Women's Day? The YouTube comments are going to kill me. Nobody's going to watch this video, so it doesn't really matter if I get this wrong or not. So, happy International Women's Day. I did get it right. Haha, Facebook comments. So this would be a perfect choice. Next up, Ahsoka. Okay, this is a Star Wars book. Anybody that's seen the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels will absolutely love this book. I'm on page 304 out of 360 or so. It's amazing so far. It talks about Ahsoka Tano, who was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, and her quest to find herself after Order 66, where all the Jedis are killed. She comes to terms with the loss of her master and Obi-Wan, and finds some friends along the way. And it's a really good book. If they don't make a solo movie out of Ahsoka, I don't really know what the Tarnation Star Wars is doing anymore. Speaking of Star Wars, today I picked up The Last Jedi, the novelization. I kind of thought to myself, they can't get any worse, right? Like the Last Jedi was so polarizing of a movie. You just can't get any worse. So reading it could only make it better, right? Like, I mean, seriously. And it's kind of neat because it has full color art from the movie, if you haven't seen the movie. So it's pretty cool. I haven't read it yet. I've read, well, that's a lie. I lied to you guys. I've read like the first 14 pages, and it's pretty good. It starts off with Luke, and I've heard that it delves a little bit more of the backstory, so it should be pretty good. Next on the list, Jim Butcher, The Aeronaut's Windlass. This is the first in his new series that he has. Jim Butcher, for those that don't know Jim Butcher, how dare you, first of all. He does the Dresden series, or the Dresden Files, the Codex Alera. Dresden Files is a modern-day wizard in Chicago. Codex Alera is his take on magic and swords, and they're both phenomenal series. If you love magic of any shape or size or style, this Jim Butcher's for you. And I've heard this is much like a not cyberpunk, but steam something. Oh, YouTube comments are gonna kill me if anybody watches this, but who knows? Steampunk, yeah, steampunk. That's the one. It's kind of like steampunk. I've not read any of it. But it's amazing. It's really long. It weighs in over like over 600 pages. If you like Jim Butcher, I bet that's going to be really good. Next on the list, I'm very critical of this author, mostly for his. I won't get into that, but I took off the cover because I was reading it. So, Humans Bow Down. It's by James Patterson and somebody else. Hold on. James Patterson with Emily Raymond with Jill Dembowski. And I will say, it is one of the things I don't like about James Patterson when he does these co-authors. Notice they're not on the spine. It's all James Patterson, right? I would be willing to wager that most of this is written by the other two authors. It's about a post-apocalyptic robot apocalypse where humans become slaves in an encampment. I'm not really too sure why the robots keep them around, because robots have assimilated a lot of the human culture. It's just a weird, disjointed book. I'm 143 pages out of... Takes me a while to find it. Out of 373. And it is kind of cool because there are some artistry, some artwork along the way. I'm not sure how long it's going to keep my interest. I've been trying to read this thing for almost a year now, I think. Maybe a little under a year. We'll see where we get with that. Next up, Red Sparrow by Jason Matthews. Saw the movie. Thought to myself, I wish it was a book. Lo and behold, when I was going past the Walmart aisle, it was a book. So I picked it up. I have not read any of it yet. Hopefully it's better than the movie. It has to be. It just has to be. Next up on the list, another Star Wars. The Legends of Luke Skywalker. Again, this is one of those new books that they've been printing out. Basically, it's an anthology of different Luke Skywalker adventures. Pretty simple. Some of them are myths, some of them are real. And it's a thick book, too. And boy, does it smell. And it has pictures, too. Most of these books have pictures, and I'm not sure if that's a coincidence or I'm just an easy read. Anyway. Another Stephen King, Gwendy's Button Box. But it not only is Stephen King, but it's Richard Chizmar. And I will notice this. The difference between Stephen King and James Patterson when they co-author. Notice. The font's bigger on the cover for the other author, and he's also on the spine. Stephen King, I hand it to you, man. You're pretty awesome. Oh, I've not read this one. The little town of Castle Rock, Maine, has witnessed some strange events and unusual visitors over the years, but there is one story that has never been told until now. In the summer of 1974, 12-year-old Gwendy Peterson encounters a stranger sitting on a park bench dressed in black jeans, a black coat, and a black bowler hat, unusual for such a warm day. This man in black is here in Castle Rock specifically to pass an obligation for Gwendy, that is both fantastic and terrifying. On his behalf, for an unspecified period of time, she must take possession of and hide from the rest of the world a small mahogany box adorned with multicolored buttons and levers. The reward for safeguarding the box will transform her life in many ways Gwendy could never imagine, but the price to pay for her failure could very well mean the end of everything. I'll be interested to see if the Man in Black is actually Walter O'Dim from the Dark Tower series or Randall Flagg from The Stand. They're all the same guy, so it would be very interesting to see. Next on the list, Philip Pullman, The Book of Dust. I loved his Golden Compass, Amber Spyglass, Subtle Knife. I know I got those last two in reverse order. And I'll be interested to see what he does with this one. I've not read anything of it. I was actually looking out for this one. And I know that Philip Pullman is very controversial sometimes with his Golden Compass books. Pardon me. But I don't care about that. All I care about is if it's a good story. If it's a good story, I could give a rip about the outside controversies. All I need is a good story. And take a look. I don't know if you can tell. Take a look at this neat. I love how they always do that, where it's not the same pages. I love that, and it smells great too. I love a book that smells great, this is really cool. Take a look at that. I don't know if you can see that or not. The spine is really cool. It's all white. Philip Pullman is etched in on the cover there, and it's got kind of a glitzy inside. It's an amazing book. From if you're judging a book by its cover, and I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but this one looks pretty good. Last but not least, is very different from all the others. And that is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Moyes? I watched the movie. It's because there's a movie on it. It's not based off of the movie. It's based off the book. But it's a series of books. And it's a chick flick. International Women's Day shouldn't probably not say chick flick. So, a romantic movie. It's not a rom-com. If it was a rom-com, it'd be a totally different movie. But it's a very good movie about a woman that gets fired, finds another job taking care of a paraplegic man who suffered a very bad incident, hence the paraplegicness of his injury. And she falls in love with him and tries to change his mind, all that. Again, there's some controversy with this book, she doesn't... I'm not going to get into it. It was a good movie story, so I decided to buy it when I saw it on the book stand. And I'm a little bit into it, and it's almost exactly like the movie, which is great. In some ways, it could be a little... But yeah, I love the end in the movie. It fit. We'll see what happens in the book. I just stacked those up and they all just did. So guys, this is what I'm reading. This is what I'm drinking. I just covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 books that I'm reading in 1 cup of coffee. Hope you guys enjoyed this. What books are you reading currently? Tell me in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Because I really would like this channel to get back up and running. I'm going to hopefully get more content on there soon, including this one, probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. So yeah. Take care, guys, and as always, keep calm and read on. That's hot. Paris Hilton reference.